analysis to examine the construct validity of this scale for the self and the relation of inverse self-perception. Three factors corresponding to three shared components of more qi are exactly illustrated. But for the other perception, the task knowledge and the evaluation on ability cannot be discriminated. And all factor loadings are acceptable, despite the unexpected but reasonable factor extraction of the other perspectives. Our data support the factor structure in this scale. And this result, it appears that using direct and meta perspective to reflect the social connection of team members' perception on the components of more qi is possible. However, in the present structure of more qi scale, there is only one meta perspective to reveal the athlete's estimation of other teammates' perception on him or on her. But in the direct perspectives, the targets that athletes estimate are the athletes themselves and their teammates. The combination between athletes' estimation on two opposing targets may reflect the shared needs of more qi. So in this case, we were wondering, is there any other meta perspective corresponding to relational inverse self-perception? And it did. In 2010, Jackson and Bill Chan proposed a fourth perspective to describe athletes' meta perspective target on their teammates, namely estimation of others' self-efficacy. And they argue this perspective can be the basis for the possible meta-cognitive connection in a team. So applying this idea, the purpose of the present study is to develop more qi scale based on two direct and two meta perspectives. We try to use these different perspectives to reflect the social connection among team members on the task knowledge, evaluation of each other's ability, and emotional awareness of each other. So after items were developed, we conduct a pilot study to confirm the content, wording, and the meaning of each item, as well as to confirm the duration of the administration too. The participants report that the theme in this question may confuse or misleading layer perception. They may select different teammates as the target when responding to this questionnaire. So we add the complementary illustration and revise the theme as the holistic evaluation on your team. And then we recruit 124 males and 73 female collegiate athletes from a variety of team sports such as basketball, table tennis, and volleyball. And all participants complete more qi scale before or after their regular practice. And in this scale, besides the self-perception, other perception, and the relational inverse self-perception, we add one more meta perspective, which is estimation of other person's self-perceptions. And the theme in this perception is my teammates realize that for example, my teammates realize that what they should do when running a game plan. And then we conduct the explanatory factor analysis to examine the factor structure, and we also conduct item analysis to confirm, to test the properties of each item and the reliability of each dimension. Okay, result. For the self-perspective, we extract three shared components of more qi, and the factor loadings of each dimension are acceptable, and these three factors are moderately correlated with each other, and the total R squared is around 74%. And for the other perspective of 默契, the EFA also extract 3 factors corresponding to 3 shared components of 默契. And the factor loadings are also reasonable. And these 3 factors are also moderately correlated with each other. And the total R-squared is around 74%. And for the meta perspective, the first one is the relational inferred self-perception. We just found 2 factors, which are the task ability and emotion. The factor loadings were again reasonable, and these 2 factors are moderately correlated. And the total R-squared is around 70%. Okay, the last one is the estimation of other self perspective. In this perspective, we also only found 2 factors, which are ability, emotion, and task. And these 2 factors are highly correlated. The total R-squared is around 70%. So we also conduct the item analysis, and the item and factor correlation are acceptable. And the result also shows the good internal consistency. The ground box alphas range from 0.896 to 0.947. So this result reflects good appropriateness of each item. So after a series of EFA, we confirm the structure of the 3 components of 默契 for direct perspectives. But for the meta perspectives, some components are mixed with each other. So it is possible that, compared with the direct perspectives, it is not easy for individuals to estimate other person's perceptions. Besides, people are inclined to rate other person in a synthetic way. So despite the defect of discrimination of 3 components of meta perspective, our data approximately support the 4 perspective design of 默契 scale. So it is interesting to note that the logical linear combination among different perspectives may create the social connection among team cognitions. For example, it seems the convergence of self-perception and the relational inferred self-perception can reflect the idea that my teammates and I think I am. And on the other hand, the combination between other perception and the estimation of others' self-perception can be reveal the perception that my teammates and I think they are. So this combination can be the representation of social connection of 默契. So in general, our finding preliminarily provide the evidence of constructive validity of 默契 scale. And so the next step for future research is the further validation of 默契 scale, including examining the structure by complementary factor analysis and the criteria validity, and also the factor invariance with different individual development, competitive level, and SWOT. And at last, I would like to appreciate the coaches and athletes who participate in our series of researches, and as well as my advisor, Dr. Liao Zhuning, and my colleague, Ki Jizhong, Huang Mingwen. And this study cannot be accomplished without their help. And thank you, that's all my presentation. Well, regarding to the team process and the performance, one plausible vehicle to improve 默契 is the interaction among team members. And one of the determinants of effective interaction is communication. So the following presentation will discuss this issue, communication in group dynamics. And thank you, I pass this presentation to my colleague, Li Jizhong.